Getting pumped up, loud music, coffee, energized before a meeting, before a game, before some type of performance isn't doing what we think. It's not getting us ready to perform. It's not raising our energy. It's depleting our energy and our focus for when it really matters. I was trying to be quite aware the other day on what makes my friends that are playing in the NHL different than players that maybe didn't make it. And I thought, how are they so composed when it comes to performance? Then I looked at other people in meetings, and I've been in the back of my mind thinking, what is it about these people? How are they so composed and make such great decisions under pressure? And I think I finally landed on the reason why. I've got a long list of reasons, and I've got a couple studies that I want to share with you as well. I think the key actually is not getting pumped up and riled up and wasting our energy before we have to perform. It's quite the opposite of bringing it down before we have to perform. Because the reality is we need that energy and that focus for when we actually have to perform, not for the preparation. And I'll tell you why. The first thing is we already have that embedded in us. It's called an anticipatory rise. Our body knows in the back of our mind we're about to perform. We know that. So when it comes down to it, when that whistle goes, when the meeting starts, when the performance begins, our blood pressure builds up a little bit, our heart rate rises, because we know something's about to happen. Our body knows, okay, it's time to perform. We don't need to add to that with our own music and coffee and getting riled up and all this complex stuff. Our body already knows, and it'll prep us for it. The second thing is the body budget that I learned from Lisa Feldman here in this amazing book, How Emotions Are Made. Body budget. So what's the body budget? That is how your brain depicts and your brain makes decisions on the amount of energy that it thinks your body and brain has. So our brain is anticipating and making decisions off of how much energy it thinks we have in our body, how much energy it thinks we have in our mind to make decisions. So that means our decisions are often based off of how much energy we think we have. So if we go into a game and we wasted 30% of our energy getting ready for the game, now our brain's going to make decisions off having 70% energy, not 100%. So that I think is important to keep in mind, that now our decisions may be affected by the realization that, hey, we're already working with less energy than we're used to. So it's another reason that we don't need to waste all that energy during warm-up and getting excited and riled up for this performance. Our body's going to do it for us. Let's save that energy, channel that energy. I was so lucky to have a doctor on the podcast named Dr. Judith Anderson from the University of Toronto, and she talked about working with first responders and military and how she helps them to be more resilient and make less errors on the job. If they're about to bust through a door with no idea what's on the other side and they want to limit their mistakes, what can they do? And Dr. Judith Anderson, with many ideas and concepts that she applies, but one important one to me was bringing their bodies down, bringing the heart rate down. Because again, she knows our body's going to naturally bring us up. We need to bring that thought process down, our brains down, that energy down, channel our energy, bring in an awareness. When we go through that door, we're composed, our body budget's high, we're ready to adapt, perform whatever we need to do when we get on the other side of that door. And she uses something called RSA breathing, respiratory sinus arrhythmia, where instead of picking up that heart rate and getting it going, actually slowing down our exhale. As we lengthen that exhale, our heart rate slows down as well. Now, what happens when we slow down that heart rate? Well, it's telling the rest of our body, hey, calm down, channel that energy to be ready to perform. So maybe you're not busting through a door to figure out what's on the other side, but maybe you're stepping into an important meeting. Maybe you're stepping into an important game. Who knows what your performance is? But if we slow down that breathing, save that energy, build up our body budget, now we're going to be in a better position to perform to the best of our ability. There was a really cool study from the sports psychology department from Moscow State in Russia that basically said, they worked with a bunch of basketball players, that when they slowed their breathing, they worked on their RSA breathing before they went to perform, their performance improved. While they were performing, they hooked them up to a bunch of monitors and they realized that their alpha brain waves were more dominant after working on that breathing before they had to perform. So they weren't bringing themselves up, they were actually bringing themselves down. And when they did that, their alpha waves increased. And what are alpha waves in the brain? Alpha waves are those waves that are present when we're meditating, somewhat the resting state of the brain. So it's kind of like Jocko would say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So it's pretty cool that without any other tools, no other books, no complications, slow down that exhale, bring our body down, and be locked in and ready to perform. We're gonna find that energy. We'll have that anticipatory rise that'll bring us up to what we need, but then we've got that brain composed, slowed down, ready to perform. We didn't waste all that energy an hour, 2 hours before we had to perform. No, we saved it up for when we needed it most. As always, where I get this information is always cited in the description of these episodes. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe. Remember to subscribe to the Heroic Minds podcast if you want to hear where the inspiration for these videos come from. And always, leave a comment. Let's keep the conversation going. I'm Ben Fanelli. Let's get out of our own way and perform to the best of our ability. We'll talk again soon.